everyone, Tasha here from Pixie Mommy's Reborns. Happy Monday. Today I have my two tiny tinks. We have Harley and Jameson, and I'm just going to do a little bit of, I just fed Harley, and I'm going to give her a diaper change, and then we're going to feed Jameson and change him. While I do that, and I'm going to get started right away, because like I said, little Harley was just fed. Let me hold her up. These are my two tinks. To those of you new, hello and welcome. This is my little girl tink. Her name is Harley. So, yes, she needs a diaper change because she just got fed. So, we are going to chat today. I thought this was a really nice going to be a really nice follow-up to the video that I just did about collectors' preferences and bonding with your babies. And I saw that a few channels did this, so I want to give credit. I first watched Miss Serenity Smith, and she did the topic based off Wonderful World of Reborns, and I'm now new to that channel. It's a new channel to me. I went over and watched her video and subscribed to her, and you know, it was enjoyable to hear what she had to say. Penny at Fun and Froilc Nursery also did. And if anyone else did, I apologize. Those are just like the three that I watched, and I said, you know, I really want to follow up on this topic. And the topic is basically, you know, our customer service experiences and how do they affect us and the way that we bond with our babies. By the way, everyone, this is a cloth-bodied baby doll. There are no baby parts here, just, you know, because I'm changing, but I'm just hoping that with the cloth body baby, I'll get away with it. I'm doing it real quick. Anyways, so how does our customer service, you know, experience affect, you know, us and the way that we bond with our babies, etc.? And I realized that I never actually spoke of my very first experience, which happened to be a custom and happened to be my full-bodied silicone baby boy, which was little Peanut. And you rarely saw him on. I only brought him on to post like him for sale, and he's since, you know, sold and or was adopted, you know, to a new mommy. He went to a new mommy. That was my very, very first experience. And it was probably right around this time last year. Now, mind you all, I was just on my personal Facebook scrolling around. I think somebody had liked a page of, you know, one of my friends liked a page of like a sculptor or something. And that's when I discovered the Silicones and Reborns. And I was just enamored. I was blown away. I couldn't believe that, like, the baby that I had been dreaming of my entire life, you know, actually existed, you know, something so realistic. And that was in the full-bodied silicone baby boy that was little Peanut. So I loved the sculpt, and so I started paying close attention to the artist page, and I could see that she seemed to have integrity. Now we're going to move on to Jameson here to feed him. Let me lift you all up a tad bit so you can see a little better. So, by the way, guys, this bottle is really big for him. But the little tiny bottles I got, I don't like the nipple. Like, it's very hard and it's just not right. So I have to look into smaller bottles for the little tinks here. But anyways, he's got to get fed. So, and he does pretty good off this. So he's actually eating pretty good these days. Aren't you, little guy? So yeah, so I started, you know, watching the artists and, you know, following some other artists and sculptors and things, getting an idea for the prices of silicones and, you know, the painting and what I liked. And this artist, you know, I loved her style of painting on the silicone, and I really, you know, liked the sculpt. And, you know, I felt by her pose, she had integrity of, you know, she wasn't the sculptor of the sculpt, but, she molded, casted, poured, and then, you know, she finished that baby for me. So let me get started with the story of what happened. So I knew nothing about the community or how things were supposed to go. I only did know, as a small business owner myself, how frustrating it is to deal with time wasters. And I saw a bit on, you know, the different, you know, doll artists pages, you know, all the comments of like the beggars and people. You know, I kind of got the gist pretty quick that, you know, artists kind of went through a lot. So, you know, when I finally contacted her, I basically, you know, knew I was ready, and I was. And so, you know, I had pretty much very few questions because I had been paying attention to, you know, that sculpt, and, you know, she had some videos up on how it moved, and, you know, long story short. So I paid upfront in full, you know, even though she offered a layaway, She told me the baby would be done in 3 weeks. The invoice, you know, was, you know, professionally done. It said the baby would be finished in 3 weeks. You know, there was a picture of the sculpt that, you know, I was paying for, you know, a finished baby, So here I am now, not wanting to be a pain in the butt customer. So I just patiently waited the 3 weeks. And after like 3 weeks and a few days, you know, because I had like a big X on my calendar when the 3 weeks, and I was actually hoping, oh, maybe it'll be done, you know, a week or a few days before, or I'll get surprised. And I really didn't, you know that I was supposed to receive like works in progress pictures and stuff like that. Like, I wasn't, you know, aware of any of this. So 3 weeks and a few days, I finally, you know, got antsy and messaged her and said, you know, I'm so excited, you know, is he ready? You know, is he going to be shipping out any day? However I worded it. And she said, oh, I'm just getting started. I have her, you know, the first base layer done. And she sent me a picture. I was like, you're kidding me. So I don't even know if I asked for a time frame or whatever. I was just like, okay, thanks. Like, I just didn't know what to say. I was so disappointed because when you're waiting for your first baby, it's really exciting. So now in the meantime, shortly after that, I had, you know, made my way around like the different buy and sell pages and stuff. And, you know, I had purchased my first Reborn, and it came. And I was very, you know, happy with the Reborn and the way you could dress and pose and all that. I was like, wow, the Reborns, you know, are really cool. So the silicone wound up. I never bugged the artist. I just waited. I should have. I should have messaged, you know, when the 3 weeks happened, I should have said, wow, gee, you know, my invoice said 3 weeks. You know, I'm new to this. Is that normal for it to take so, you know, longer? You know, I should have said something. And she didn't offer up anything. She didn't say, you know, oh, I'm sorry, it's taking longer. I had this happen in my life or that. Nothing. It took over 6 weeks for this baby to come. So more than twice the amount of the time on the invoice, with absolutely no explanation, with no communication of, you know, I'm working on him, you know, I've got, you know, something happened and, you know, whatever. I mean, as a business owner myself, crap, if I had, you know, I breed sugar gliders, you know, if I had a Joey that was, you know, supposed to be weaned and ready to go at a certain date, and that Joey was, you know, not eating right or something happened. I mean, this has never happened, but, you know, if that case came and I had a customer that was paid in full, you know, waiting for the date for their babies to come home, I would be messaging them, or, you know, saying, well, it's going to take a little longer. This is what's going on. I would have offered them a full refund on the spot after the time. I mean, that's how I run business. Like, I don't know. I guess I was just so, like, shocked. I don't even know. And, I'm thinking to myself, well, I don't want to be pushy, and maybe this is normal that artists say it'll take a certain time and whatever. So, yeah. After 6 weeks, the baby came. I never bonded. I mean, in all fairness, I really decided that the Reborns were for me. The silicones, he was like a small newborn to preemie size. I think he was 17 inches or 18 inches, something around there. He was small. So, like, to get a silicone that flowed over my arms the way that I would want with, like, armatures and stuff would just be way out. And I just... Again, I like, interacting. I just prefer the Reborns, put it that way. That's a whole other, subject. But definitely my experience, with this artist, I mean, not that anything unpleasant exchanges happened, but it was just the huge lack of communication. And I felt like, well, I paid up front. If I was making payments, then I would have had some communication with her that here's a payment, how is he coming along, sort of thing. I felt like I was taken advantage of because she had, and now you're talking about, you all know how much silicones cost. You're talking about a lot of money here. You're not talking about $500, and even that's a lot of money. You're not even talking about $1,000. I mean, you're talking about a lot of money here that I just, So, to me, again, if I, had I been making payments or had I been pushier, maybe my baby would have been done a lot sooner, because I guess the squeaky wheel gets the oil, so to speak. But still, again, I'm not someone that wants to bother an artist. So, he got sold. I realized my taste in Reborns, but how is important is customer service to me is very important. You don't have to be my best friend or my friend, my artist. It's not, just, I watch artists, closely now. I like if they have a YouTube channel and I can, get to see their, their personality and, what they put into their babies. And often, it's the artists that, put a lot of, just, you can tell that they love what they do. That's important. The journey of where the baby comes from is very, very important to me. I still have the few for sale, the ones that I got from the beginning. And not that anything was wrong with the way that those babies were purchased. They were just purchased secondhand. But there was just no connection or relationship to where they came from. I don't know the artists of those babies personally. And maybe if I did, I'd have a different feeling towards the babies. My Jameson here was the only baby that, I went out on a limb after, only sticking, with my favorite artists. And, I feel like I love the artists, that most of my babies come from. You all know that. But, in the same time, it's collecting, and I want to, a different artist's work in my collection, and I will continue to do that. But Jameson was at eBay, so I had no, idea about the artist other than to know that, like, she's a well-known artist. I could see her previous work. It wasn't like I had no idea who she was. It was just not an artist that I personally followed, or at that time I didn't know anyone that had a baby personally from her that I knew well, and stuff like that. But anyway, so that's why I was incredibly nervous. I was worried about the, shipping and all of that. And, oh, he's got a wafer. So, whatchamacallit. I was nervous at my box opening with him, and I had never seen her work in person and stuff like that. It turned out okay. You know, I love Jameson. He's absolutely stunning. You know, he's a different, more of a skin tone than I go for, but I love having him in my collection, and my two little tinkies, I call them. But again, you know, how the artists feel about that baby. And afterwards, Natalia Konovalova, I can't say her name right, she's from Russia. That's his artist. Afterwards, you know, when she messaged me, when I said, you know, that I received him, you know, and that all was well, and I loved him, and, you know, she said, oh, you know, give Tink a hug and a kiss for me. Like, I could tell that she loved her work, you know, and I subsequently saw she wound up following me on Instagram, and she must have found me because I didn't tell her to, you know, so like that made me feel good. And I'll see that she likes or comments sometimes on the pictures of him, so obviously she cares about, you know, not just making money, but where her babies go to and following them, and that makes me feel good. You know, I think that it's nice when the artist, you know, cares about seeing someone enjoying their work, if that makes sense. Like I said, don't have to be my best friend. And I've never done an actual, you know, custom since the whole thing with the silicone. But that's my preference as far as I feel with artists, that they do their best work when uninhibited, when they can create their vision. Like, you know, a few artists, and one in particular where I just happened to become pretty close friends with over the journey of, you know, purchasing babies from her. And that happened just organically because we had things in common, and, you know, it wasn't pushed or forced in any way. And I'm very grateful, you know, to have that friendship. But I learned some things in the way that artist creates, and, you know, you know, she keeps kits, and when it's time to bring that kit to life, she has a vision for that kit. And I just feel like artists work, you know, you know, their best work comes when they're just uninhibited, because you never know as you're painting, maybe the vinyl won't take the, you know, you had a certain skin tone in mind, but as you get started, you know, it's the vinyl's not taking it the same as you thought, and you want to go in a different direction. Or you know, after that, you know, you think the baby's going to be a girl, but after you've done rooting it and you fluff up the hair and look, you say, oh, wow, you're a boy, you know, like what that baby really is supposed to be. And if you're doing like a full-on custom where you're telling an artist, I want this skin tone, I want this hair, I want this eyes, like if it doesn't flow that way as they're creating the baby, of course they're going to still create the baby the way that you ask, because it's a custom, that's what they're paying for. But then it's not necessarily their true vision for the baby, or how they even feel as an artist is the best way to do that baby. That's just my personal, you know, opinion, and, you know, how I feel I get the, you know, babies that, you know, are the most beautiful to me and what I prefer. That, you know, I wait for, you know, the artist to create that vision for that kit, and see if it's a baby that speaks to me, so to speak. That's the way that I collect. That's, you know, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with customs, or, you know, if an artist, and some artists, you know, work better that way, or they say, oh, look, I wouldn't have thought of that if the customer didn't have the idea of this is what they wanted for a custom, and that works out great for some. You know, again, just for me, that's just, you know, talking about, you know, this topic. And, but yeah, again, how you know, how the artist feels about their work, what kind of, you know, extra, you know, extra love and personal touches they put into it. you can watch and see, does an artist, you know, follow their work? Do you see them getting joy out of the new mommies, you know, getting their babies home? Like that sort of thing. Yes, that means a lot to me. And if I were, say, in a position where I was doing a custom, absolutely, it would mean something to me that I was treated with respect and that there was some line of communication, not that they owed me lengthy conversations or messages every day or a friendship forced or anything like that. But I think that, you know, you are owed, you know, your questions answered and your messages answered, and, you're owed just to be treated like a valued customer is just, you know, that's what I'll say about that. And, you know, the crazy bonds that I have with my babies, you know, if you all go back, you know, into my videos and see like the Twinkie story, a Sear story, you know, you'll really get a feel for how much that means for me. And, you know, in those videos, I talk about the artists, and, you know, how I feel about the artists and their work and all that, and how much that really truly means to me. So that's my thoughts on the subject. It could make or break a baby for me, for sure. Absolutely. And, you know, so far, you know, so good. But I never shared that first experience in full. I might have talked about it in bits and pieces, but I never came on and shared that first experience, which was truly poor customer service, that I just didn't know any better. I just didn't know any better, and I'm not that kind of customer to bother. I felt like, you know, I almost felt intimidated. You know, you could tell that it was a well-respected artist, and I didn't, you know, I almost felt like a nobody in a way, and it was stupid because, you know, I spent a lot of money, and I certainly was the opposite of a bother. You know, I should have just somewhere in between. I should have, you know, asked for works in progress pictures, or, you know, thinking back, I should have just, you know, put a deposit down and made payments so that I had some sort of communication with the artist. But I'm just holding up little Jameson here. He's so sweet. But that's not the way it went. So that was my experience. Yes, the customer service experience. And my experiences in between. And, you know, now I've got, you know, I'm in the community, and, you know, I've gotten to know artists, and I'm getting to know some other artists, and looking forward to, you know, bringing, you know, babies in from other artists, as well as looking forward to, I'm sure, adopting from the same artists again, because, you know, hey, you know, if something's wrong, don't fix it. And in a way, you know, I know that I'm happy with certain artists' work. So, all right, guys, I'm going to let you all go so I don't have to stitch this video together. I had a problem with that the other day. I made a nice long one with Kin Master, and I wasn't able to post it. So I'm going to let you all go. Please don't forget to like. If you're still here, you might as well subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. I'm back to doing live, so you won't miss a live if you hit that notification bell. All right, everyone. God bless.